Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Planning Board meeting of May 8th, 2013. Tonight we have Matilda Evangelista, Bob Watts, myself, I'm Harry Locatilia. As members in attendance, we have Howard Snyder and Wendy Beaumont. Wendy's taking minutes, Howard's our town planner. Without any further ado, we'll begin the meeting, and the meeting is called to order at 7:08 p.m. And first on the agenda would be the minutes of April 24th, 2013. We'll put those off until our next meeting on the 22nd.
Right.
Okay, great. We'll jump by correspondence, if you don't mind, Howard. You can bring us up on that a little bit later. Those are Newbury and Rowley anyway, right? We can review those on our own.
Nothing relevant that I need to bring to the attention of the board tonight. So.
Those are just on our agenda as correspondence because
Yep.
special permits and things like that under 40A have to come to towns, neighboring towns. We have a couple of vouchers that we should dispense with, if we can.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the vouchers to, is it necessary to read amounts and to whom?
The total amount is fine.
Okay.
If you deal with the total
I'm
amount.
fine. It's WB Mason for $116.99 and H.L. Graham Associates for $342.50 totaling $459.49.
So Bob moves to pay the vouchers with identified specifics totaling $459.49. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Tilly. Is there any discussion? They seem pretty much right up front. WB Mason, H.L. Graham.
For 6 Norino Way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to
beautiful-
pay him because, yeah.
You may as well pay him, all right?
Nice
Pay
to
him.
pay
He
people.
did the work.
Does the work, we pay him. You know? Nice to do that. Any questions, Tilly? Any more discussion?
No.
All in favor of paying the vouchers in the total of $459.49, say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. 3-0. We'll sign those when they go around the room. Good stuff. And first of our public hearings tonight, we will deal with the continuation of 6 Norino Way. This is a site plan approval. That wasn't a question. That was a statement. Did I inflect? Did I erroneously inflect?
We're all in agreement.
My apologies.
Good evening. My name is Brian Murray from Millennium Engineering. With me tonight is Lenny Mirren, the applicant. We are seeking approval for site plan improvements at 6 Norino Way. I believe the technical review has been completed. I think the planning board has been notified that H.L. Graham has completed the review, and it's our understanding that all the technical issues are Larry's okay with, I guess, say it. And with that, we would just like to turn it back over to the board and ask if there's any additional questions that related to the site plan that we need to discuss tonight.
I just want to mention I received an email from the technical review engineer dated Friday, May 3rd. He had received the third revised set of the site plan. And he says that they've adequately addressed the minor comments mentioned in the April 1st letter. So everything is cleared up with the technical review.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Howard.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you. So it sounds like the technical review has been done. Takes care of the water issues. Would you like some water?
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah. What specific was different than when you first made these plans that Larry indicated to assist you?
The primary changes were the inclusion of a swale up along the
bank?
slope. Yeah, the embankment
Right.
in there on it. We added that, and other than that, it was mostly modifications to the stormwater system.
You had some extensive comments and concerns about the underground storage facility?
Yeah, what it came down to is Larry was hoping to see some infiltration as part of that system. And working with him on it and with some of the ideas he mentioned to us, I think we were able to make some changes where we were able to incorporate it in on it. And we originally were concerned about the letter of the law relative to the infiltration or the regulations required for infiltration. And I think Larry helped guide us through some issues here that we are providing infiltration above and beyond, I guess would be a better way to say it, so.
And it's not gonna float out of the ground and pop
No.
up under a truck someday?
No.
Oh,
no,
good, I'm so
yeah,
glad to hear
yeah,
that. I'm
yeah.
sure your truck drivers are too.
That would be nice, yeah.
So Larry will be out there to inspect. Is this all done?
No,
No,
we'll go to construction this summer on it.
summer.
Right, and I would assume the planning board will have some type of inspectional.
I would presume that we wouldn't use Larry for the field inspection, but rather that would be Dave Varga.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea. Yeah. And you got the fence all in order for the back?
Yeah, I didn't notice that on the plans, and I just got.
We haven't done anything on the job. We've been waiting for, we thought we had to wait for approvals. We haven't cut down a single tree yet. We've been waiting on the final approval. I didn't know I could start working yet.
No, it's not a good idea to do that.
Yeah.
Don't let me
So-
lead you that way.
I think Tilly means showing the fence.
Oh, I don't know if it's on there or not, but,
No, we did not incorporate a fence in up there.
but we have no problem, of course, putting it in,
Right.
obviously.
Then
We'll
we'll
put
make that a
it, because we did
condition
talk
then,
about
I
it.
guess.
During the site visit, Tilly, I think we talked about it.
Right.
And I was looking for it.
Because of the high hill in the
That's
back.
a brutally steep
Yeah.
slope, and if any kids got up at the top
Oh,
of that, you know,
It's a cliff.
well, you know, if they step over and, you know, running for a ball and they don't
No,
realize.
you're right. There's a
and-
temporary fence up there now, that plastic fence, but we want a permanent, probably what, chain link fence? What you would want to see?
What would you recommend? I mean,
Well,
this
if we're talking
isn't for security. We're not gonna put concertina wire on the top of it. This
No,
is, this is to keep people from, you know, kids from
Slipping down,
accidentally
that's
falling
basically-
down.
I would say a 6-foot chain link fence. You want to go with some type of chain
Really
link.
want a 6-footer? Okay.
I would think so. If
Whatever.
we're gonna keep kids out of there.
Yeah, I think so too.
If it's shorter, then it's no challenge, it's just.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about
But
chain links,
if
but it
that's the
is.
intent
Yeah, oh,
here,
yeah, me
that's
too.
what I would recommend.
Yeah.
Your recommendation?
Then you don't have to upkeep it or, you know, I'm not crazy about chain links, but.
I'm not either. but I'm not
But
crazy about
that's
hearing the kids roll down a
necessity.
hill because they just happen to
This
be
one
running
is,
after a ball or
as you know, will
something.
be
Yeah.
basically kind of in
Maybe
the
some
woods. It won't be
plantings
visible.
if
you
there's
know.
anything visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wooded area, so
Yeah.
there's tall trees there.
You said there's a temporary fence up at the top of that, you know?
Yeah, we've been using that plastic snow fence, exactly right. That's what we've been using.
More of a warning fence.
I'm just trying to get the wording down for what the condition would be for this. So would you say that it would be to replace the length of the temporary fence that's currently there?
Was it already
Okay, and this
across?
is the dilemma we have sometimes,
Yeah.
when we're looking at plans, and I think what's happening here is, I can't speak for the rest of the board. I'd love to close this tonight. I would. We've delayed this process enough, and the technical review went back and forth, and it's been a couple of continuations. I'd like to see this move as quickly as possible. There is a dilemma, however. If it's not represented on the plan and shown on the plan when these plans are recorded, then we have to somehow verbally describe it. And that's where the fly is in the
Absolutely.
ointment.
Yeah.
Perhaps one of the things that might make this easier, even though it would be a short delay, is if you could generate it shown on the plan, do an overlay for the fence, where you believe it would be.
Yeah, as a matter of
And
fact.
I'll tell you, at that point, I wouldn't have any problem moving this just very, very quickly
Okay.
to a next meeting or something, very, very soon,
Yeah.
so that we could.
Could we,
Turn it over.
just, yeah, exactly, could we do it, you can condition it with us submitting a plan by Monday or something like that to review, or for Howard to review?
Do we write the condition right on the plan? Can we do that?
Well, you know what?
No, I think it'd be
have to
better
come
if you
back to
just submitted a
signatures
new plan.
Anyway,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
All right.
And you can only get them.
On
at
the site plan?
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So I mean, if you're showing everything, when you
That's
bring
fine.
back the Mylars, we can close,
Okay.
issue, Mylar, sign,
Absolutely.
and you're wrapped in, what, when's the next one, 22nd? Does
Yeah.
that work for everybody? Do you think it would be possible to make a change like that?
Oh, to show a chain link fence? Yeah, absolutely, that'll go quick, yeah, yeah. I'll have it back to Howard next week. Yeah.
And it just needs to be delineated on the, it's just providing one sheet.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can show that on the utility plan, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you've asked for a waiver for removing the trees. You don't say how many trees, you don't, in the setback, which, it's not very descriptive. Should it be?
Right, but
Is that okay?
on the slope of the hill, I don't think he's gonna go through and inventory all the trees on the slope of the hill.
It would almost seem, and again, it's not one plan, it's a series of, I believe you have 4 sheets here.
Yeah, because there's also a septic replacement, so there'll be a
Right.
lot, there'll be thousands of trees coming down. and
So,
There's a lot of small
I
trees.
think it's by virtue of the fact that we approved the site plan with
Yeah.
this on the front.
Yeah,
The
but it's
waiver
very
is granted.
vague, you know, it's.
But I could write in the condition, you can put a hatch pattern in the area where the trees are gonna be removed, and the condition can reference that hatch pattern. Waiver, the requested waiver is approved based upon it's being applicable just to this area. Being shown on the site plan in a hatch pattern or something.
Yeah, and you, well, I remember our discussion about when you were removing the trees on the site. When you start removing trees on a slope, you're gonna have erosion. And you're gonna make the slope steeper. And who
Yeah,
knows?
we're gonna be redoing that
Yeah,
slope too as
we're
well. We're
gonna
pushing
redo
that
it.
slope back.
We have to redo it
Right,
because there's, like I said, a new septic field going in back there anyways.
Yeah.
We're moving the old septic, which is on the slope, and a new one's getting built further back.
Okay,
That slope is gonna change anyways.
okay. And Dave is gonna review it when you get doing it.
Show, I mean,
Okay.
I know where it's being removed because I see the
Yep.
dark lines. So I mean,
Correct.
I know what you have to do for excavation there. And I don't think you're gonna be able to leave trees where your system's
No, no,
gonna
That's
be.
right.
where-
But I think Howard's made a good idea
Yeah,
here. Would be
that's it.
happily put the hatch pattern on there.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
Anything else you see, Joey?
That was one of the issues.
Quick question, do you have to go before the Concom with any of this?
Yes.
We do, yeah.
Okay, do you have like an open hearing so that,
It's not, our first one is May 23rd on it.
Gotcha.
We've been in front of them because there was some mitigation issues from previous work out there.
Okay.
So for the past
just
several
wondering
months.
if we could coordinate everything and,
Yeah.
Okay.
you know, if they make you change the plan, then we've signed something the night before that.
We're gonna have to come back to you.
With minor modification.
Yes. Minor modification to a site plan approval? Sounds like a plan, sounds
I do have
like,
a question.
by all means, please.
About the location of the fence. In looking at this,
What are you on the first page of
I'm
that?
just going on the
Cover?
front, yeah. It looks like one of the steepest sections is just off the property. So I'm wondering, are you thinking of building it down here at the low point to the top, or?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we
I-
own the other lot too anyways, so,
Well, that kind of simplifies things.
it makes it easier, yeah.
Question.
Yeah, it does.
See,
In that area, you own it, right? A little further down, it's
It changes to the,
telecommunications property.
yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
I'm sorry.
So we own where that slope is where you were just
Yeah.
pointing. We do own that. And that's what, yeah, the fence would of course have to go back there.
Yeah, and I
At the
mean,
top of the
obviously,
slope.
It should be reasonable. I'm not suggesting
Yeah.
that you take it to Groveland or anything.
Right.
Okay,
No,
great.
I'm good.
Mine too.
The only other thing, I just wanna write a note, hatch pattern will be shown on plan, for tree removal. The only other thing I was thinking of was, I recall that we had, on a butter, and I don't remember the gentleman's name. He was concerned about, the site view, and I notice on, the lighting and planting plan, you addressed everything as far as the lighting bylaw, the lighting regulations, excuse me. And you're proposing a good number of, 5-foot
White pines.
5-foot diameter white pines? Those are
Better
so
not be
big.
diamond.
That's what
Better
it
not
says
say-
on the plans. 5-foot diameter white plants.
It's in 5 foot.
My God, the equipment you're gonna need to plant them, and it's just yeah. You might want to get them.
Those are nice.
Yeah, you should get like 2.5-inch caliper. You really should.
Yeah. That would help. Yeah.
And the only other thing, they're white pines, and I noticed that they're at the top of the slope here.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I'm not seeing, that's probably most likely the general area where you're gonna be putting your fence. Actually, might need to do a little adjusting there.
Yeah.
One thing I did not find in the lighting/planting plan was how and naturally, these plantings are all up here to provide that buffer
Right.
area from the abutting properties and the homeowners on, what is it, Long Hill?
View.
Longview.
Longview, excuse me.
Yep.
I did notice that, unfortunately, I'm not seeing, if you could show me where it is, the area where the septic system is proposed. Yeah,
Does that plan show the septic?
this shows it,
It shows the
right.
grading right there. Yeah.
Right, it shows the grading, but, so if I'm extrapolating there, we're dealing with two different scales on these plans here, so it kind of can throw you off a little bit. One's a smaller scale, one's a larger scale. So, if I'm looking at this one right here, when I look at the utility plan, that's the only one that's actually showing the septic system. So we're gonna be, you're proposing to put the trees up here,
Yeah, right.
the white pines. But again, remember, over here on the proposed septic system slope, if you will, on that slope and above that, you're gonna be taking out a good portion of that hill. The trees come with it naturally. And it seems to me that you're gonna open up a view that way to the houses.
For the houses, yeah.
Yeah, so if, I don't mean to make you redraw your landscape plan,
But you wanna see more pines there, is that
but
what you're saying?
we need to have a buffer there. I mean, if I lived there, I'd want it there, and, we do need to address the concern. It's better to address the concerns of the abutters. I mean, let's
Well,
have everybody be,
You'd rather see some more white pines in that area too?
Very nice.
well,
Yeah, there's a setback from a
white pines
a septic
don't
field,
throw
though,
me,
right?
but.
Yeah,
trees.
well, we can
They're pushy, aren't
put that within.
they? They go up,
We don't mind doing it.
they'll get
Yeah.
big, yeah.
They'll
They get big, but
there.
they tend to drop their limbs.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there anything that, you could suggest?
Arborvitae?
I'm not a real tree person. don't know.
Arborvitae's, I mean,
Norway spruce.
they grow out, or Colorado
defer
blues
to
or something like that, but
People that
they're
are smarter
slower
than
growing.
me about these kinds of
Eastern
things.
red cedars, just another, a slower growing than a white pine might be good.
The kind that don't drop their branches as they get tall.
Get taller, right, so
Mm-hmm.
they're still a conifer.
But they stay green. Yeah, they're conifer,
Right.
so they don't drop their leaves, they don't drop their branches. Okay.
Year-round, year-round, light
Um,
protection and everything.
As long as the tree root isn't going to bother your septic.
Yeah,
Right,
there's a
there's certain
setback. That's
setbacks
what we were
have
just
to have,
talking
and
about.
I believe it's 10 feet off the edge, but I'll
Is
have
that what
to
it is?
double
Be
check that.
careful what
Yeah.
you pick, you might ask the,
Right, we don't want to have
botanist,
roots
Yeah.
infiltrating in there.
wherever you're buying them, you might ask what kind of tree.
Isn't that a code for the septic field, for the setback on trees?
No,
Stipulated by
basically,
state law,
what
no?
it talks about is the leaching area
Mm-hmm.
needs to be cleared on it, and then you have your slopes going down. And then, as far as setbacks away from that, there's a host of setbacks relative to buildings, drainage, and
I see.
the trees, I believe, is 10 feet off for a mature tree, but we've seen them. I've seen septic systems going right up close to trees before, too.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a written tree
Okay.
offset.
But for your own benefit, don't do
Oh,
it.
No,
yeah,
we
I
don't
know.
like to see them. From
Yeah,
a
of
design
course.
point of view, we want to keep them away.
Sure.
And bear in mind, I mean, I'm not asking for anything to be planted on top of the system itself.
Understood.
Um,
Yeah. Just
but
between that and the
Did you already
property.
bring this to the Board of Health? That septic
Yes,
system?
that's
Yes.
been approved.
That's been approved?
Yeah, just the
Okay,
way it
so
is, yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah, they
maybe
probably,
behind that and,
Okay.
throw some trees in there, some,
they probably have.
Howard,
some
you had a good
suggestions.
suggestions there. Maybe you could link up with Howard and,
I'll talk to Howard.
is it possible to, I don't wanna see it redraw a million
No, we'll just
plans.
redraw them, just be done,
Yeah?
we'll just do it and be.
Really? Is
make
that the
sure
best way?
everything's
Yeah,
done.
we don't mind.
As far as
It's
I'm
not
concerned,
holding
I
us
mean,
up,
it's
Harry.
the
one set.
landscape plan.
Right.
It's not holding us up, believe me. I'd rather just get the one plan. That way, when we start working off it, we know we're working off the right plan and there's no confusion and.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just assume,
Yeah.
modify all the plans, just so something doesn't get missed from one plan to the other. It's not a huge effort here, what we're talking about, showing a
Talking an
fence and
overlay.
some trees
You know,
on
you're
there.
throwing another layer on.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And conservation wants us to do that replication across the street first anyway, so, well, that's
Hey,
what we're gonna
you're
start
gonna
on.
be redrawing plans all over the place. You're going before Concom again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
okay.
yeah,
Not that you're gonna, not that there's gonna be, you're probably gonna tweak a couple of things.
Right.
Is what I meant to say. Um, um, That's good. I can't think of anything else.
Everything else is
So, what do you think you'll end up with as far as screening, as far as the details of the trees? Do we wanna leave it open, or Howard's suggestions? Do we wanna leave that like
The
that?
applicant engineer will get together, and if the board's happy, then what we discuss and
Right, I
come to
think
an
it's-
approval on will be acceptable.
I think it's gonna be a
so-
conifer with a little discussion about what the actual,
Species.
yeah, species is in
And
it.
I'd say it's probably gonna be in a similar density as what they show on the other location.
Mhm, that kind of density?
Yeah, and if that's acceptable to the board, then we should be fine.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that works.
right?
I'm gonna leave it to your judgment, Howard. You're gonna deal with this before we. And I'm good with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's good, that'll go quicker.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Oh, as far as where to put the tree, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah.
idea, that's a good way of doing it, I guess. Okay.
Put them where they're best placed.
Yeah,
Right.
No, we wanna keep them happy, believe me. They've been great so far, and,
Yeah.
and it does
We wanna
make a
keep it
nice
that way.
environment to have trees.
I
in the
think so. I
front.
mean, contractor's yard, there's no way to make a contractor's yard look nice, you know, so.
Right, and
You got
you're,
it, corner
you know,
of
to
it.
put the septic system in, you're gonna be
Yeah.
taking away all the trees that
Yeah.
are providing
Oh,
the
yeah.
cover there. It's gonna be a shock.
Yeah,
Someone's
you're gonna
look
hear
out a
about it,
window
we're gonna
or be
hear
in their
about it.
backyard, flip it a burger, look over and say, what happened?
No, you're
And
right.
It'll be reassuring to them to see the green wall go up.
Okay.
That worked well. Can we let the record show that, Tim Howard arrives at 7:30 PM? It sounds like we're all set with this. I'm satisfied. Bob, you cool?
Yeah.
You good?
That's
what I saw too.
Tilly, you cool? Tim, do you want to, do you have any comments for Six Narita Way?
No, it looked pretty good.
I gave
read
him
it today.
30,000 foot.
You give him the good view? Sounds
For what
good to
we
me.
talked.
Sounds good to me. With that being done, how does the board feel generally about, now we really can't close the hearing, can we?
No.
Because then we can't accept any more information. Okay, that's a moot point. How does everyone feel, maybe, at this point, if there are any abutters, that would like to make a comment, we'll open it up for comments. Going once, going twice, going three times. Let the record show that there don't seem to be any abutters that wish to make comment. No abutters. And, I'll take a motion to, continue this.
So moved.
So moved by Tim, Tim moves to continue to, and this is gonna be May 22nd, our immediate
May
next.
22nd.
May 22nd? May 22nd, 2013, at 7 PM,
Our next meeting.
our next meeting. And that was a motion by Tim to continue,
The second?
seconded by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 4-0. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Hi. Glad you could make it. Site plan approval, Mira, and now, second on the site plan, continuation of site plan approval for Honeydew Donuts at 103 East Main Street. Continue of site plan. 103 East Main?
The applicant has revised the drawings per comments of the board presented at the last meeting. I sent that out electronically, and everybody got a folding copy in their packet. And I also sent an email out notifying the board to drive by, take a look at the landscape improvements that were done at the site.
Significant, yeah.
Very
Um,
nice.
And that was actually a coincidental and a good one, that they had proposed to be doing that work anyhow. So, that was one of the concerns of the board as well.
That whole property's becoming from an eyesore into a beautiful, it's
That's
unbelievable the
like a
difference in the
regular
last 2
grown-up,
years.
Right.
big boy, yeah.
If I may, the board, I'd like to run through.
Would you please introduce yourself for the record, sir?
Dana DiLorenzo.
Donna Molis.
Donna, where?
Molis.
Did you sign this?
No.
All right, give it a-
I invited the property owners to come in and just give an oversight to the board on behalf of the applicant for Honeydew Donuts. Because he's a leaseholder, they're the owners, and so what the overall progress is gonna be on the site, to help inform the board. And the board could help inform them about how to streamline any future development efforts.
Dana, if you will, please.
What I'd like to do, if I could, just run through the last, say, year and a couple of months. My sister Donna and I bought the property that was the old Danvers concrete block. And we've made improvements. The awning, we took out the old awning and put in a new one. We moved our building materials out back to get it away from the front, and we put in a display out front. Plantings in the middle, and we have plans to do plantings on the other end where the sign used to be, that old sign. We'd like to come out there and keep the same theme going all the way.
That's really on this plan here, that's showing on this one here?
No,
No, it isn't.
no.
It isn't.
You're talking to,
But
to the end of the
you're
property.
talking
Yes, sir.
about where it would be shown if.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
where the sign was, where the car dealership was, we cleaned all that
Pretty
up.
much everything
and,
that's subject to this property, yeah.
We put 23 arborvitaes along the road, along the old library.
Side lot line,
Side
with,
lot, yes,
with.
The piece that
yeah.
you own, right?
yes. And we did that for a couple of reasons. One, the former owners had put in those white pines, and they're all up high. There's no growth below, so we put in a natural kind of fence with 23 or 24 arborvitaes that'll grow in and fill that.
Well, let that be a lesson to us, I guess white pines don't do
White
after a
pines,
while.
right. Yeah,
Well,
right.
from the bottom up, they're about 10 feet, well, maybe 8 feet. There's nothing. You can just see right through them.
Yeah.
So we put in a row of arborvitaes to buffer that zone. And again, on that corner, we'd like to carry that same theme all the way across. Trying to think what other improvements we made.
I just wanna make a note, putting in the arborvitaes was in some ways satisfying the previous effort of planting all the white pines.
Correct.
Which was to screen the operation occurring on that commercial property from the residences. That was a requirement of a zoning board decision.
Right, that's
And
special
that's in the
permit.
packet of information that I had given to you. There's a copy of a plan that was an as-built of where plants have been put in. And so what the board is seeing is that the maturity of these plants put in under the intention of satisfying a zoning board decision
Back in the
The
nineties or
quality,
something.
back in the
the
nineties.
quality of the buffer
It's degraded,
deteriorates
and now
as
it's
the tree
been-
gets bigger, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
but
It's
the
been
trees
fixed.
that they were originally supposed to do is not these that are there.
They weren't white pines that they were supposed to put in?
No, they were explicitly, we had quite a lot of different, if you read the decision, there was different kinds. So it wasn't, that was like, you know, your uncle. He put what he wanted,
Yeah.
and that wasn't what
I
should have
think we
been
were
there.
putting a split rail fence too behind there and fill that in so
No,
it looks
there's
nice.
quite a assortment of trees
Yeah.
that should have been there.
And all by the front there, you know, like I said, we've cleaned up all that. We got that shed out of there and tried to clean out some of the dead growth. There's actually a couple of dead trees there that I'd like to take down on the property line.
That would be
just-
good.
And just clean that area out.
Right on that
I
berm.
think it's looking real sharp.
Thank you.
It does.
Yeah, thank
The,
you.
the stonework there,
Yeah.
it's very, it's
Again,
interesting.
thank you for bringing that up.
For the town.
We got rid
Yeah.
of the chain link fence and put in a stone fence
Yeah.
and, you know, made it 4 feet high.
And you have the same, mulch on the two.
Right, all the
beds,
mulch
so
will be
it
that
looks
dark mulch.
like
It'll
Yeah.
all be the
together.
same. Although one side is a display, we've kept that all the same dark mulch and kept it, we have a landscape company that comes in and actually cleans it and takes care of it for us, which they're in the process of doing now. We got rid of the chain link gates and we brought in nice black gates that, you know, look a little bit more friendly.
Sharp.
And the main thing is we took down that sign, that
Oh, it
god awful
was.
sign.
You're absolutely right.
God, we filmed
Now
taking
we
that
know
down.
where we
'cause it was-
live.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, we filmed
It's
it
not
because it was just
Danvers.
like,
I filmed
you know.
everything.
But again, the things they did back in the '60s or whenever they put that sign up was, you know,
Crazy.
that was probably
Boston
the
City
sign.
Hall, right?
That's it.
What?
Look at that sign every
building
time
in
you
the
come around the
world,
corner.
you know, sure.
So our plans are to continue to beautify the place. And as far as the parking lot goes, I know there's an issue with as far as traffic flow, but if I may address one thing, we have just got the property and we've been working very hard out of pocket trying to improve it. We would like, if you look, when we hot topped our part, they didn't hot top their part, so there's that dip.
Yes.
We are gonna hot top that. The economy has not been great in the last 5 or 6 years, so we are working to do that. To make it all one level, all clean and all smooth. So that is something that we're planning on doing, is hot topping that. On the far edge, I'd like to use a permeable paver and not use all hot top where that car dealership was. I'd like to put in a paver that doesn't, it's not just hot top. You can drive on it, but it's permeable.
I understand.
So it'll just make it look a
More
little
green
nicer.
space really outside.
Right, right.
Are you planning on not using that for outdoor storage anymore? I see some pallets. and
You know,
stuff.
the only thing we're gonna
Shuffle
keep
them
out there is a few pallets of natural stone. We've worked very hard on getting all our commercial-looking products and putting it behind.
around. Sure.
On top of the stone fence that we put up, I guess you'd call it, I'd like to go up with maybe a 2-foot wrought iron, like, looking like the gate. So it kind of blocks the view into the back.
Yeah.
And we plan on doing that. Again, it's just, we're trying to do it as we can, as the economy turns around a little bit. But those are all plans that we have, that we're gonna do.
Right.
Because I think it'll look better from the street, not looking back and seeing everything. We've moved a lot of the building materials that move a lot, kind of like put it behind the building supply, so it's not out where Danvers used to have all their things.
Right.
There is things out there, granite, but it's not materials that are picked up every 2 seconds like some of the mulch, excuse me, not
Sure.
mulch, but sand and stone and stuff
Everything
like
in the
that.
back, yeah.
We've kept that where it was, away from, so the building kind of screens some of the sound. So,
Well, back when you get to the parking lot that you mentioned that you're gonna asphalt, the fellow that was here representing you, did
The engineer?
Dunkin' Donuts, he told us, he had done the outside. Now, on the outside of Dunkin' Donuts, they have areas where they have some green patches.
sure.
That would be a lot better than, and more economical, I would think, than
On-
asphalt.
On which part,
Yeah.
Tilly, are you talking about?
Like if you,
What we were looking for is, essentially what happens is, there's kind of a dilemma here. The two parcels, even though nobody thinks of it and nobody can really see it, you folks remember where the jerseys were. So you
You didn't
probably
like
have.
those, huh?
If you painted them. No, unfortunately, there is technically a property line that separates that. Now, here's the dilemma. This application was made for, what is it, 103?
103.
103 East Main Street. Because it was 103 and not 103 and 105, according to what we are supposed to be doing in our site plan approval, is imposing 5-foot landscape strips along the side property line that would bisect the parking lot. I don't think that's a great idea for you guys. I don't think you want to see that.
No, I think that would
And
be,
what I think we were
Technically, it's almost
trying
gonna be a waiver on the site
Yeah,
plan.
you can't
Right,
do it.
and what we were looking for was a good reason to grant the waiver due to the fact that we've squared up the safety issue of the parking lot. Another way you could do it is just get rid of that line. And I don't know if that works for you guys. That's, I don't know. I'm not suggesting it. I'm saying that's an option. If that works for you, eliminating that line eliminates a lot of problems.
you mean, can join the whole property as one?
You show this as an outline on a Form A with that property line removed, and the board does an A&R. and that property line is gone. One
For
option,
future consideration.
for future consideration, certainly for future
I would run
consideration.
that
Considering
through
the
an
two of you-
attorney. I would
The
run
two of
that
you
through
keep
an
getting
attorney.
along, and you don't wanna split the property, so.
Yeah.
It's just- Well, it really is that.
If you got
that
one on retainer.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Because that's not necessary in my mind, but it's an option.
Well,
It sounds, I'm not sophisticated in this area, but it sounds like it's a simple option for us to do it.
Yeah.
Might be a complicated option for
Yes.
you to do.
that's
Tilly's point
what I
is-
say.
I think what happens there is, you got, because they're two separate corporations,
Yeah,
and the liability in the two, one is a, you know, a property management company, so to speak, and the other one is an actual business.
business, yeah, yeah.
So it's not like it's a business in business.
Doesn't sound like it's a viable option.
It's, one is a, like I said,
You'd
one's a
have to
business.
like do some legal stuff to
Yeah, that would-
create
Yeah,
a new
that's-
organization as a trust or something.
Sounds like that's not too popular an idea.
Well, it's-
Well,
You're
it
talking
isn't that, it's just we
lawyers.
like to keep the two
Yeah, the way
separate
it
for
is.
insurance
Yeah.
reasons and all kinds
Yeah.
of reasons, obviously.
Just
But,
an
um,
option that we were
Yep,
throwing out.
no,
there.
I appreciate the,
How do we, and we were hoping that the engineer, I forget the engineer's name. Steve. Was it Steve? Steve? We were hoping that Steve was gonna come up with some kind of a traffic solution. The issue you have here is that you're gonna have a new busy business early in the morning. You're gonna have vehicles pulling in to go to
the hardware store,
a hardware store.
the liquor store,
Well, probably not at 7:30 in the morning for the liquor store, but the hardware store.
pretty close.
Some people might want to wait. But they're gonna be pulling in and out, and they're also gonna be pulling in and out of the other entrance. And East Main Street at early hours of the morning isn't exactly sparse as far as,
Or at night.
there's some traffic concerns there. And I'm sure you can understand our concern, where people will be shooting in and out, somebody's looking for their coffee, somebody else is looking for, trucks running in and out.
Sure.
We were hoping that some kind of traffic solution could be worked out here.
And
Much
I'm-
the same way that Dunkin' Donuts has a traffic solution where there's one in, there's one out.
The difference that we have here is that we run a building supply center and there's a lot of trucks that come in. So I am absolutely open for ideas, but by putting anything that's raised in certain locations creates a plowing nightmare. And those big trucks, you're gonna have more of a problem pulling out onto
Well, that would be,
three. Where if we could keep them fairly wide, so it'd be easier. And I do have a couple of ideas. One would be painted in and outs on the ground, which would be my first choice. My second choice would be like they have over in UFP, where they have trucks going in and out. They have a divider, but I believe it's sunk in the ground. It's like instead of hot top, they have that, maybe concrete. I would do pavers because I'm partial to those, but have a paver, different colored paver in the hot top that would denote it. It would be much more.
As a
You know
permanent
what,
lane,
As a-
Mark.
as a
Yeah, it's
permanent
nice,
lane.
it
Yeah.
looks much nicer
Well,
than,
one of the things that sometimes helps is, we've adopted for subdivision rules, we've adopted lid principles. And one of the things that you do is you physically go in there and you could take out a portion of the pavement. And essentially, it's a planted area. You're not imposing a curb that is gonna create something that somebody's gonna hit. But you have a planted area that would create an island, so to speak. But you wouldn't have to concern yourself that now you're creating this huge curb that someone's gonna have to run over or might blow their
Right.
tires on.
I think the planting in the middle would be tough for a couple things. One, site, depending on what you plant there. You're gonna have a little bit of a site issue. You pull up, there's a sidewalk there. And again, for the trucks coming in and out, if it was a planting in the middle there of the entrances. You know what I'm saying?
If you just do a pavement texture change or something to help
That's what I'd like.
visually denote the in and out.
Cobblestones, something that would be easy to
That's the
plow
way you
over.
go.
Cobblestones are
What
aesthetically
I was,
pleasing.
what I was suggesting to the engineer, and what I thought he was gonna incorporate was something like an island that would also serve as, what's the lid principle? I forget the name of it. low impact
Low impact,
drainage, to help with the drainage and work in that fashion. I mean,
But
if
you-
you got-
you
if you have to dig up pavement,
We
get rid
do.
of some drainage water too.
We have the drain there that belonged to the urban system on the street.
Yes.
When I walked in, it's like the asphalt kind of
They did.
skirts around
Yeah,
the
and
drain.
it's sunk in it, yeah.
So you're gonna have heavy trucks going through there. I'm sure that's not gonna last.
I'll tell you, and if you look at that entrance going to the parking lot, when they did that urban project, they raised that
Sure.
sidewalk up.
Bumped up.
So when people go over it, they end up scraping their cars,
Yeah.
Right.
which is completely ridiculous. I don't know why they didn't just level it with the street,
Yeah.
you know, do the concrete level with the street. But they did this, and that's why they had to, the town or urban had to put that drain in.
Yeah.
Because they created that big slope there.
Why does it say filled?
Well, because you're using so many trucks in that parking area, you're filling up that drain a lot faster than any other drain.
Well,
I actually
it
spoke
says
with-
filled on the plan.
No, what that means is it's a shallow drain. I had talked to Peter Durkee,
Yeah.
and it's a shallow well. And when they went to clean it, there was only that much dirt in it. And it's
Right.
been how many years? Because it just doesn't,
It's like
You can't have a
3
deep
feet
drain
though.
to drain out to the street. It's gotta be above, so you get the positive
right, so it's a
flow.
shallow, so that's what I think Peter meant by it's filled. It wasn't filled with dirt, it was a shallow drain.
Did he tell you if it drained? Did it connect
did.
to?
It did.
It
Yes,
did
ma'am.
Connect to the other?
So it
Drain?
connected to
Connects
the
to
one
the
in the
street.
street.
Well, there's one right across the street from that one, right? Does it go over that far?
Geez, I don't know, I can't remember.
Because right on the other side, across the street from you, is like marsh. It appears that
I don't know
would
where
be
it
the
drains
way
to.
I would do it, but I'm not an engineer.
I don't know where those go to.
But the drain that looks close to your property is like 3 feet deep. And evidently it was full when the last meeting that we had, and it's clean now because I walked by it.
But Peter said when he cleaned it, there was only a little bit in there, there wasn't a
Really?
lot of dirt.
Well, that's what Stan told us, that it was full.
No,
Well,
I
'cause
talked
he
to Peter.
did
he
a
cleaned it.
visual look at it and it looked full. He
Yeah,
didn't
but
know
because
how
it's
deep
shallow.
it was.
Because it's shallow, it's not deep.
Yeah, it isn't deep. No, it isn't.
Because it has to be high enough to drain into the.
Into the street.
Yep, so in the side, there must be a pipe that,
I
probably
would
can't see.
I would have to ask Peter. I don't know because
Yeah.
I'm sure that shallow one is higher than the one
Is
on the
it,
street.
according to this, there's a 10-inch connection between the one on your property and the one at the street, according to the, if I'm reading that correctly. There's a 10-inch.
Which I don't. And they did that again because they raised that sidewalk
That's
in that
right.
huge berm. Well, I don't know if I call it a berm, but certainly that, and that's a nuisance.
yeah, I would think it would be.
People pulling in and out of that entrance, it's a nuisance.
Yeah.
But I just want to get, if I can speak, to get back what we were talking about with this pavement difference and change. You've got a leaseholder coming in for 103, and the board wants the whole parking lot to be considered. So in a lot of ways, the board's asking you, as the owners, to be able to do improvements on the adjoining property. That's all part of a parking improvement, and it will benefit the applicant in terms of facilitating traffic flows coming in. So that's the idea that really wanted to, in one way, wanted to be discussed. Understanding what the board's trying to do to review something on 103 and how it impacts the other property that you own. So in considering the traffic improvements, the parking improvements, this is one way you can do it with the striping, some signs.
Yep.
And you had asked the engineer before to propose some of the things
Yeah.
on the site plan. And
Yeah.
wanting to hear from you that it's acceptable that if you do some striping on 105
Oh, yes.
for the benefit of Dennis and Honeydew Donuts in 103, it's acceptable.
Yes. Yeah, we like I said, we were planning on painting the parking lot. But we
After
were-
you pave it.
we wanted to just pave that section, because that bump, you go over that bump and then you go over. So we wanted to, pave that area and then paint the whole thing. And actually, up along the building, our idea was instead of having painting markings off the building, I wanted to recess cobblestone into the hot top. So there'd be, instead of having lines, painted lines, it'd be cobblestones.
They won't wear out.
And
That
they
would
won't
give
wear
it-
out, and I think aesthetically, it would look more pleasing.
Absolutely.
And these are things that we plan on doing.
Okay.
Do you have a plan drawn that we could
We-
look at, or is this something we
It
have a
was
vision?
something that was just,
Yeah, vision,
you
we
know,
have a
Vision.
vision.
I
I
understand.
apologize, we don't have anything.
No, I understand.
We don't have anything drawn out. We know what we want it to look like. Certainly more plantings and trees and a better traffic flow, because it's only gonna help us.
Right.
As far as
Well,
facilitate
that's-
people coming in and out.
And it's a very visible
would-
property in town.
Well, it is, it's the
And
first one that you really see when you're coming off the
Exactly.
highway.
And that's
The
why we've
value
done the
to
things
the
that we have done.
town For you to
Yeah.
improve how this looks, I think is gonna be significant.
The other
That's
thing
the kind
was
of thing
that-
we wanna
go
have.
ahead.
I just wanted to mention with that, there's appreciation for you wanting to and needing to do this incremental. But the problem that the board wants to make sure it doesn't become created is that there's a compounding effect that goes on with this incremental steps. They actually end up needing to come into the planning board for something.
Right.
And all this work has been done, and you might have to either undo it or it needs to be considered in a different way. That's all. So if you can get your vision down a little bit more pen to paper.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
I walked the area, I was there the other day, and you were so busy, I didn't stop to talk to you. There
Yeah.
was a line of, things are picking up, aren't they, in the
Well,
construction?
you know what happens is we're dead from November, December, January, February, March. All of a sudden April comes and everybody wants to, so then we just get very busy for like 3 months and then it tapers back down again. It's again, everybody's doing yard work and mulch and
Great.
plantings and stuff and improving their homes. So that we get a little fluctuation this time of year. That's why it was crazy. And then it tapers back down and we go to,
Well, I
So
walked,
seasonal.
I walked when I went outside to the end of the building, you know, and, I was concerned because I love the rock, effect on your poles. I think
oh, yeah,
Oh,
the
yes.
granite, yeah.
that's really, a nice
Yeah.
feature.
Thank you.
Aesthetically, it's beautiful. It
Yeah,
really is.
and anyway, trucks were parked. Came in. I guess the guys were working. The trucks were parked right up to the sidewalk that you have, and you couldn't see daylight when you were walking there. I mean, I thought the trucks, you know, in the future, not the construction guys, but maybe a wheel stop to push them back a little bit.
Away
Oh,
from the
yeah.
building?
Yeah,
Yeah, we had to
away
have that,
from
yeah.
you do that.
Yeah.
From the
yeah.
sidewalk, because it was just too close. I felt like, you know, and then I wondered where'd the sun go? You know? And also, that would be a good thing because you know, people you got one eye open getting a cup of coffee.
Right.
You don't know where they're gonna land. And the other thing is maybe there should be an area just for the trucks to park.
You mean like contractors coming in?
For the coffee. For that area, you know, maybe there should be some place where they wouldn't have to back up if there's cars. You know, if Steve could come up with something, an area in that area so that the guys could come out.
In, like, in front of where we're proposing, Honeydew, is that what you mean?
Yeah, but not that close to the store. You know, like in
Right.
an area on the side
Right.
where they can shoot right out and go, instead of backing up and.
We,
A tractor trailer coming into here is gonna have a hard time for a lousy cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So,
well, and
Well, I
you
think you're
have
gonna
to figure,
get
there's
them.
gonna, but I mean, there's gotta be a.
I'm sure you're gonna.
we're the first
for
parking
a
lot
Truck of a size.
off the highway.
Not the biggest
So
truck.
how many times
Donuts,
big
they
trucks
just
pull
park
in
on
and
the
say,
street.
where's Tenny Street?
Yeah, but you're getting them all from Haverhill.
Yeah.
These trucks.
I'm getting them from both directions, 95, we're
95.
getting them from both ways.
Yeah.
18,000 cars and traffic vehicles going through here in the morning. So you're going to have
Wow.
a business. And you're on the right side of the street going in the morning. That's a big plus. And
That's
we
the biggest
certainly
thing.
want you to be successful at this because you've had several different kinds of business ventures in this area that you're proposing the donut area. So
Well,
what do
you can
guys
bring it up
think?
with Steve when he does some type of traffic improvement proposal, right? for
Yeah,
the site.
Yeah,
I'd really like to see something like that, because right now, I mean, I'm looking at the plan, and he's showing, an entry and an exit on the Honeydew property with a painted island somewhere in the middle there.
Or
And your
cobblestone or whatever, yeah.
cobblestone would be nice, it's represented on this as painted. There's nothing on the other side, again, that other entrance. And, you know, one of the reasons everybody pulls in, the trucks pull in off of the highway is because you have this enormous expanse of pavement. I mean, it looks like a great place to pull over.
And I'm all for
Wing in and-
doing something reasonable as long as it doesn't inhibit the trucks getting into the street and leaving.
This is the
Yeah.
I
challenge.
want to facilitate them
Yeah.
coming and going.
This is
So-
the challenge. How do we, A, make it safer for the cars? Because you're gonna have people trying to drink their, looking for their coffee, shaky, going in the morning, for their coffee. And you're also gonna have your customers, the smaller trucks pulling in and out. And at the same time, we don't wanna impact your ability to move vehicles, larger vehicles, moving materials in and out that'll impact your business.
And one of the
This
nice
is the
things is when we
challenge.
did get out back, when we bought out back, it allowed us, I don't know if you've noticed, but the trucks don't unload out front anymore. They all go around the back.
I did.
Dana, can they pull in one, wing around and pull back out? Or
It would,
is there like a U road or a possibility?
I mean,
that-
out back of our building is huge. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a very vast area.
Yeah.
it's
But for them,
utilized,
a
too.
lot of them, pull in, use it as an in and kind of an out kind of way, in either direction, depending on the truck,
Which way they're facing.
depends on which way. If they're coming from Haverhill, they're coming from, the highway.
What would happen, and I don't know, again, this is something that your engineer really needs to talk about with the safety. What if one of these was an entrance and one of these was an exit?
I mean,
And that's the challenge, because that's what keeps Dunkin' Donuts, which is a very similar thing, very, very similar type of use and property. That's what keeps that from being insane and being dangerous.
and I'm not, I'd want to speak to someone on certainly traffic flow and
Steve,
stuff like that.
right, Steve.
And be able to say, yeah, I mean, I think that'll work. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that at all.
Bear in
That is
mind,
one.
I'm looking
And we
at
could
it
have
like
an in
this
and
is a
out. I
simple
don't-
solution.
I don't.
This may be naive
don't have a
on
problem
my
with that.
account, on my
Steve came
take.
up with a very good solution there at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
I don't really see how that exact thing would work here, because you're gonna have trucks coming in and going all the way back here, and trucks coming out and coming back here. So this one is two-way. Maybe this one.
Going around the building would be probably better. If they can,
Well, is there access?
can they go
Well,
all the
that's
way
what I'm
around your
asking.
building?
That's what I'm saying. If one of these was an entrance and the trucks only
I
came in.
like that idea better,
Yeah.
because to have a truck go by the liquor store, go in,
Mm-hmm.
pick up, drop off, whatever it may be for our business, and then try to turn around and come out the same way
I can't.
would
That's
be,
nuts.
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I think to have one as an
That's-
in, which I'm more than willing to say, in on the street, in by the liquor store, out on the other side and out on that street, I think that'll give it a flow that you're
Flow.
looking for.
Whatever way you
Right.
want to flow it.
In the same way going, coming in by the, in front of the liquor store and then going out the other way. Is that what
Yeah.
you're
Essentially to calm it
So it
down
gives it
so
a
that
flow?
you don't have people, you don't have four cars, one coming in, the other one coming in, the other one trying to go out, the other one,
Yeah.
that's
Just need to
where
tell
the
them where to
accidents
go.
I think
are. And you do it with signage,
Yeah.
you do it with painting, you do it with cobblestones to make it
Cobblestones,
beautiful.
yeah.
And I'm not opposed to signs, but I don't want metal signs. I want something nice. If it's gonna say entrance, I don't want a metal sign that says entrance.
Yeah,
and exit.
you're too sophisticated with your landscaping for something
I don't
like
want that, so,
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I'd be-
would be
I'd be
It
classless.
would be out of.
Yeah,
I would be.
it would be.
you
I
know, if we
understand.
could
There's a
do
piece
that.
of granite or a piece of stone or something.
Yeah, just something simple. to
Yeah,
read.
something.
Granite would be a good idea.
How would we work
Yeah.
that?
It would be
out?
nice.
Again, this falls
Yeah.
to Steve to represent all this
Right.
on the
Well, no,
plan.
but it's good to
Right.
get some ideas
Right.
because we've solved.
Hey, when we're
But this
done,
is a little
it's
bit
gonna
of
be a
the-
blue
this is a little
ribbon
bit of
place.
the-
It will be.
This is a little bit of the higher elevation vision for the space, and then Dennis is here wanting to get into your space.
Yeah.
Right.
So work with him and Dennis, and maybe we can get something on this plan.
That's what I'm hoping, because that seems to be the most expedient way to move this
So
forward.
if we could do, if we could do some type of signage and change those to that, to start, and give us a little bit of time to hot top and then paint.
You got time?
So does that, that takes away the cobblestones because we're not going in and out of the same,
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
So it just, we'll leave the entrances the way
Well,
they
you
are.
could leave the cobblestone there, because remember something, as far as entrance is concerned, it's again, like Dunkin' Donuts, it's the same idea, the same mime, if you will. The entrance is the entrance, but as far as the exit is concerned, you have people exiting that wanna go both ways on Main Street. When they're exiting, they'll
Oh,
be
sure,
exiting in
yeah,
front of.
yeah.
So having that
Oh, I see what you're
physical
saying. I see what you're
separation
saying.
that I'm up here,
And they're right.
I
they're
wanna
right,
turn
they're
left.
Right.
He's over there, he wants to turn right. And
So-
we're physically separated from one another.
We still want, I want it to balance though. I don't want one side to have cobblestones and the other
Yeah.
side doesn't.
Yeah, that's all.
So,
And the other thing, Dana, is when they approve the site plan, it's not expected that you need to go out, grind down, repave, and do all the striping right away. It's if it's considered as part of the site plan that these improvements are gonna be done, and it's in the record, it can be written into the decision. The goal is to have an understanding that, this is all going to be done, but it doesn't need to be done right away in support of
It can be a
Dennis
schedule.
doing it.
Sure.
and I think there's some things that, there's certainly the in and out signs, we can do that, you know, rather quickly.
Are you going to combine it, as Harry suggested, to do the whole thing?
That's what it sounds like, and putting it, and
Because I
representing it
never-
on this plan, right?
Because isn't there a pole with a
No,
with a
not
beer?
anymore.
It's gone?
Oh, all that,
All the
all that
signs are
bad
gone.
signage is
Oh,
gone.
good. I
It's-
didn't pay
it's-
attention to
You
that
didn't like
side. The dangling
Oh,
wire.
no, all
no,
the,
that-
no, we've
that's all been
cleaned up
redone.
the,
Oh, I didn't pay attention to
yeah,
that side.
everything's all gone. Everything is all done. All those
Oh,
old liquor
great.
signs.
We had to
and
do that when
everything.
John didn't come in a day. We took the big sign down when he wasn't in.
Is that right? Oh.
I know.
How long did it take him to notice it?
Oh, right away.
I'm
Right
thinking
away.
that we're moving forward here, and this is moving along very, very well.
Okay.
And,
We
um,
can have some
Clarify from
fun.
my understanding, you are talking about, really a route for trucks to go around the liquor store and around the back,
Correct,
and then out, and then another route for automobiles.
correct. We could-
2 lanes coming out.
Yeah,
and
that
basically-
solves a lot of
It does, it does, yeah.
It would be great.
You know,
The trucks aren't idling, because we've got a complaint of that.
we, you know, we can't control every trucker that pulls in there, but the ones that come in on a regular basis, we do have a, you know, tell them
That's
not
where you
to
can
idle.
put your metal sign in the
Yeah.
back saying,
No idling.
Yeah.
But even that, I don't want a metal sign.
your sign.
It's gotta be
Yeah.
etched in granite or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the neighbors on Elm Street had expressed some concern about the diesel
Yeah.
fumes, but, I mean, unless it, I think, like, trucks in and out weren't the big thing. I think it was Danvers Block, when you had trucks starting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and running for an hour.
Yep.
Because I remember, I walked my dog down to Pembroke School, and I can remember the diesel smell as I drove down. What you're gonna do is far less than what used to be done on a regular basis
Especially
Yeah.
on that side of the property.
5 or
Yeah,
10 years ago.
yeah.
And we're not perfect at it, trust me, but we've made a conscious effort to keep it behind the building supply and not over on that property. Now, we do store our trucks in those buildings. So there is, you know, we do try to make a conscious effort and not starting up at 5:30 in the morning and,
And perhaps you need a sign too, if the trucks come around in the morning and they think they're gonna idle the truck and run into for a cup of coffee. You know, maybe there should be a sign, park your trucks.
certainly out back, I don't mind putting metal signs that say don't idle. For the most part, I don't want them idling, because I don't want to breathe that either.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't have a problem of that, but I will certainly, you know, put signs in.
Sounds like
How
we
do-
got it.
Sounds like we're getting really far here. So are we gonna modify this plan? What are we doing? How are we moving forward with that?
Well, again, if it, you know, will give me some time to get some signs. We'll get the signs up for the in and out, kind of see how that goes. And then we'll, you know, we'll try to expedite, you know, getting that hot top done.
Well, but I just want to bring it up. Your time on putting the hot top up is going to be different than Dennis and his wanting to get in and do his improvements and open up the shop. If you can get it on the plan,
Yeah.
where the board knows it can be considered at a later time,
Okay.
that's not going to put you under the pressure of finding money to do the hot top. Dennis can get a site plan approval,
Right.
and then we can carry forward with some commonality. So, but you need to get together with the engineer doing this and see what they can do for revising the site plan.
Well, I would like
Remember,
to
we
know
need something we can
approximately-
sign.
Right.
Understood.
Approximately time frame for that, because I certainly wouldn't wanna see in a year, we shut him down because you haven't done
I mean,
anything.
it's, well,
You know?
not doing anything, we're gonna get it done, because
Yeah.
we've been doing it. It's just,
Yeah, it
when you
would
talk
be-
about hot top, it becomes very
Yeah.
costly.
It's quite expensive.
Yeah.
And
I
we-
think what you
we've-
probably wanna
we-
do,
You
Dana,
can
is
see,
you wanna
we're not
estimate-
afraid to put the money into our business, because it's
Right.
our business. And
Sure.
we've been in the town a long time, and we'd like to stay in the town a long time.
We have a
and
lot
have-
invested and we have stone, we have the material, so that's the best thing.
Bear in
That's
mind,
It's good to have-
the plan right
is.
now shows pavement. You have pavement.
Right.
Yes,
You don't have to show new pavement,
right,
I know, but that bump, okay.
right?
yeah.
Drive
Yeah,
me crazy
but you
at
just
home.
wanted on this to know that we're
Just
gonna
to show the
address it.
traffic
Yep.
flow improvements on the site plan, because it
Okay.
is to benefit
We can do
Dennis, but it's gonna benefit you in the
In the
future
long
as
run,
well,
yeah.
so.
So
It's
you
just-
want Steve, I'm sorry, you want Steve to change the driveways on the plans?
For
and-
Steve to propose on the site plan for your Honeydew Donuts, traffic flow and vehicular flow improvements with the input of the property owners,
We can get together and do that, that's simple.
so.
Yeah, it's not a lot of redraw, I don't think. Not a lot.
And I,
We
you
good with
know,
this?
if you're gonna delay the paving, then I suggest a time frame of when you're gonna do it.
Okay, maybe we get
We had
back,
another business, I recall, on the other end of town, and that was the hitch. We were sympathetic, not us, but a different planning board. I guess maybe you were there? And,
Rock Pond.
yes.
so, Tilly, are you looking for, the hot, the improvements we wanna do to the hot top, let's call it
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and then it painted with a traffic flow?
Yeah, and the trees there, and
What trees?
in the parking lot, you're gonna put trees that are not raised, but level,
Where?
wherever your designer says. On the order of, we discussed the Dunkin' Donuts setup, but you didn't want the raised.
I thought, wasn't that the
Wasn't it
cobbles?
flush that you said you wanted?
Yeah, we were gonna do cobbles on the in and out, if we were gonna keep them both the same, but now one is an in and one is an out,
Right.
with still the cobblestones in there.
Uh-huh.
But are you talking about plantings in the middle of the parking lot?
So, yeah, to break it down.
Well,
You're
that
gonna
was,
have-
that's the whole question about waiver, can't have a waiver. and
Well,
how-
maybe
how
that's
that
something you wanna
boundary's
look
gonna
at
be
with
dealt
Steve.
Yeah.
And if we can, it might make for something very attractive. You might, when you look at it, you might find.
Yeah,
that
I'm just
very
trying to
attractive.
think of, plowing.
Getting through it.
Again,
And,
Yeah,
you know,
and getting
that-
through it, yeah.
that zero pavement level, no curb allows you to, lose some of
And I'm not,
your-
I'm just trying to wrap my head around this.
Water, too.
Again, though,
It's on the basis of the LID that Harry just mentioned
right,
before.
flush, I know what you mean, like a flush planting bed.
You got
Yeah.
it.
That
Or,
takes care of your
or just
drainage.
cobblestones you could drive over and.
I just, the planting, I'm
just-
worried about
Just where they,
site.
the two
Right.
parts connect and
What it is it's a visual
along the
bridge.
line,
I'm sorry, Harry?
put something there that would take the place of half a parking spot. But they would just delineate here.
You're going down the middle, is that what you mean?
You're talking about going down
So
on
it
this
doesn't have to
property
be the
line.
whole middle, I mean.
No,
you
no,
mean
I understand.
separating, you know,
I understand. Are you
something-
talking like down the property line?
You
A
know
little
what?
bit?
Going this way.
I remember being in your lot one day.
Yeah.
And it was getting to be nighttime, and I was looking around at like the way the water moves, or would move if it was raining, and I almost sort of envisioned that you might want to put something like that in as a place to lose some of your water.
I'm just trying to
And I
figure
was
out,
saying
are we
myself-
going
Well, what is
perpendicular
this
to the street?
on- What are these things here, this H, is this H?
Those
I-
are
I-
designated
I
parking
think it's
spots
getting a
for-
little confusing, but I think what you could do is when you talk to Steve, the engineer, about doing traffic mitigation and traffic flow improvements to the site, if there's an opportunity, if a dead zone needs to be created, that you plant a tree or something in it, for it to be considered. The one thing I would be cautious about is creating a no curb planter in a parking lot. No curbs work great on the outside where the water can flow, but if you plant in a parking lot without a curb, the plant material doesn't stand a chance because the curb stops the tires, stops the cars from being backed into, rolled over, and plow blades and everything else. So it would work great if it was between the parking lot and the sidewalk where the water was flowing to, because that's just
Well, if
for
it was
parking.
sunken in a little bit, would that help?
Right, because it's
So-
a no
If
curb.
it was a little bit of a raised
Look at the
bed,
way your
for
drainage
instance.
is. I think you're gonna look, if you stand where, on the left-hand side, looking at the building, if you stand
There
where
could
where the sign used to be, stand
Yeah.
right where the sign used to be.
Where-
Stand there and
where-
look at the lay of the land.
Where you have
You're
these
gonna
numbers
see
of parking
where
spaces.
you want
Straight.
that cut, because you're gonna look at it and you're gonna say, oh, wow, I'll have less pavement to put down.
Where he has the numbers of the parking
I think.
spaces, if that
I'll
was
take a
the
look at
area
Sorry,
for
Tilly?
the trees, like
No,
that.
Tilly, when you look at the legend,
I've seen it this
what you
way,
see
and I've
is
seen it
it's being shown,
horizontal.
it's being shown number of regular parking places.
I
That's
know,
what those
but where
designated-
those dots are,
Hmm?
if you had a tree in each place and you had it sunken down a little bit, you wouldn't have to pave it, and it wouldn't hold up, be a nuisance to plowing,
So, okay, I see what you're saying.
you know?
I see what you're saying. You, we'll go, just so I understand, we're going
I've
like
seen it.
perpendicular to the street where those circles are.
I think I understand what you're
And
saying.
then like a racetrack, or a racetrack planting in a few spots, almost like where there'd be a car, you
Yeah.
have a planting, going that way like that.
Use your imagination.
Yeah,
Remember,
no,
what
I'm-
the goal is to
Paved.
break up that
The open,
huge paved
Well, just to
area
tell 'em where
into
to go.
something. And I don't have to tell you, because, I mean, you guys seem to have an unbelievable aesthetic. You really do. I think,
Thank you.
I'm comfortable leaving it with you as far as that and showing us what that vision dream is. I think you'll be fine. I have a funny feeling you guys are gonna do a good job there. I think you have taste.
Thank you.
And we can certainly write it into the condition that these are things that would,
Improve.
don't need to be done within start of construction. It
No,
can happen
but-
within a year or something.
Year or two,
You
but not,
say how long you think it's gonna take you
Yeah,
to
I
do
mean,
that, and we add 6
we're
months.
constantly, we're gonna continue forward with improving, again, not to reiterate, but where the sign was out front, we're gonna do a planting bed there. And then, I'm gonna take a good look at the parking lot and come up with, something that would not inhibit people coming in and out of the parking lot, but certainly make it look more green.
Yeah.
And one point
Not a
that I'm
like
looking
a
at,
sight
and I was against it, cause I
sight line.
thought we were going parallel with the building and not perpendicular.
Okay,
Perpendicular works better. Because
Right.
people can pull in and pull out.
Yep.
So you're asking me for basically 3 car spots, and I think, and I don't know how this goes, how much parking area we need. I think we have plenty of parking.
you
I
do.
think you're way over the
You
line.
got a freeway
You're way
there.
over the
So,
what you need
I think
for
that, but
requirement.
to position those, if I'm gonna do those racetrack planting in the parking lot, I wanna position them so the in for the trucks is easy, and coming out is easy. And then that space that's in the middle, look at the building and kinda do it proportional so it looks balanced. And then for visual, I think if we went with almost like a topiary tree, which would be nothing on the bottom, but up, that would serve me for visual. As far as visual, I just don't want a big bushy tree sitting there
Yeah.
and people can't see around it.
No.
But certainly, and some type of topiary tree that might be 8 feet tall, somewhere in there, that would be high enough.
Yeah, as
Give
long
it
as
the
it's not
look.
a white pine.
Well, the thing is, the white pine will lose all those lower limbs, and you won't have any problem. It'll be 80 feet tall.
How do we move forward? At this point, we're gonna see some of that vision and the traffic scheme that we talked about represented on this plan. Is that what we're saying? You guys gonna be able to do
I'm
that?
gonna meet with him. But I'll, when I meet with him, I'll have him put those plantings in an area, and I'll explain to you why we have them when we bring the plans back, and that should be
Sounds like a
relatively
plan
quick.
to me.
That's good.
Howard, does that work for you? Tilly, you have anything? Before I take
No,
comments
I
from the
think I
audience?
got everything that I was thinking of.
And we're gonna ask Steve to come up with a traffic flow scheme and represent it on the drawing,
Okay.
including drive around the back.
Sure he can, shadow that in?
I'm sorry?
Intended?
Just including the facility for
The traffic
the
flow
traffic
for.
flow around the back of the truck is, building, as well as.
As long as we're easily representing that this is the only way in,
That's-
this is the only way out.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
listen, we'll put signs up, but I've seen
Oh,
people
hey,
drive.
that's as far as you can go. That's the best you can do. I mean,
Machine gun rest on the top
I've
of the
driven
vehicle.
by Dunkin' Donuts and seen people blow out of the entrance.
And if I may bring
But
up
it's
one more,
generally-
one more thing that we're looking to do at the property, and this probably won't be for a while. We wanted to put like a display pavilion up over in that section where the used car dealership used to be. And for a couple of
Be
reasons.
over here.
It would be the same look as our building.
In front of the leaching field?
Yep,
Yes.
right there,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
And it'd be the same granite posts, they'd go to the ceiling, it would all be open. We've gotten approached by quite a few people on a farmer's market.
So it
And-
would have a tin roof, it looked just like those stone pillars.
Great.
And it wouldn't be high, it would be the same height as the awning is now. But it would save, I think it would look better than Tent City with,
Yeah.
with,
I'm gonna pose a question. Would that be considered a structure
yeah,
This
by
is what
the,
st-
um,
yes.
by the building inspector?
yes.
Yes,
So would you need, what's the wording? Consent of the planning board? I think that's the word, consent, to have more than one building on a property?
Yes, it would be a whole
You need
another
consent?
issue. I just wanted to bring it up now.
Is
if-
consent
If that was
implied?
something that was
It's
something.
How does that
two
work?
buildings on one lot. Has a special permit granting authority, and it usually falls under the zoning board. But if there's if the principal use is governed by the planning board, then the planning board becomes the special permit granting authority. So I think in consideration of this effort being made, if you develop this structure and need to come in, the planning board would hear it.
Sounds like if you show it,
we just wanted
We
to
just
let you
wanted to let
know
you-
what we were
Again,
thinking.
in this
Like
whole
you show it.
vision thing, that
thinking.
we were,
yeah,
where
sounds
we
like
were
you wanna
headed
show
to.
that.
Show it on
Right.
this plan for future,
Okay,
um,
add it on there.
yeah,
There.
just
Yeah.
Just pop
possible
on.
future,
Right.
Okay.
structure or something like that.
Because really, we can't add too much. It's better to put what we want on there and then we'll talk about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no one's gonna beat you up for not doing what you're looking to do.
Right.
I think
Eh,
it's a great
Except for
idea.
like signs
Yeah.
and stuff. You don't
Yeah.
have a,
Yeah.
to say do not enter or whatever, you know what I mean?
And Dennis, could you just clarify, you're not proposing any outdoor seating?
Outdoor seating, no.
Okay, and you haven't proposed any signage yet either?
I had my sign guy talk to somebody in the town hall, and they said that they weren't allowing any type of signs on the roof or anything, so he's confused what is actually allowed.
So you've been talking to the building inspector?
I believe he talked to the building inspector. Dana has a proposal for some signages that are gonna be suspended along the walkway, the overhang.
Like under the
If it's on
overhang,
the overhang, it's
have
fine.
have it mounted underneath on brackets,
Right. That would be
you know,
nice.
classy
All
signs that'll,
uniform,
they'll say,
Mhm.
sorry,
Oh,
all
yeah.
uniform,
Oh, yeah.
consistent.
That would be nice.
instead of, you know,
So should I have Steve just put that on the
Yeah,
plan?
I think,
Put it on.
Make it
Yeah.
part of this application.
Everything.
yeah, one
his
comprehensive
job
solution.
easier.
If you put it all on now, you don't have to come back.
Right, right.
yeah.
So would that mean the sign on the road or everything that we would want?
No, right,
No, I think the sign for Honeydew,
Right.
but a sign for your future efforts, you don't know that. That's something you can come in as a separate sign.
Okay, sure.
Pretty easy.
Application.
Yeah, that's a simple
Does
effort.
a sign have to come before us, or just the building
If the
inspector?
building inspector bounces it to us.
Only if it's not, only if it doesn't meet the zoning requirement of the size.
right, the
That's
size of
all.
the,
Yeah, so you might
We
not
wouldn't
have to
to
come
see
back
it.
before
Mhm.
us anyway.
If it's approved.
What if it's not shown on a site plan? Well, I don't know, that's a,
I don't
that's
know,
a
if you
tough
wanna
call.
put it on.
Maybe that's something for later on.
yeah, I don't wanna get too much into it.
Yeah, let's not.
I mean,
go
that's
too
certainly
crazy.
something that's gonna be, you know, it'll be a nice sign made out of granite, it's not gonna be a neon sign, so I don't,
Nothing flashing
So
lights.
none of your Honeydew donut shops have tables outside?
No.
No? Oh, 'cause we have a lot of people with dogs and they walk
I know. Well, see, that kind of like the pavilion would be, you know, I don't know. People just always walk around and look like at the pavers and
Yeah, yeah,
just a night outdoor.
yeah.
Good.
Tim, do you, oh, I'm sorry.
There's definitely over
Anything else?
1,000
I'm
dog
good.
owners and they're walking.
Any more?
No, I'm really
Howard, you
pleased
good?
that
I'm good for
we're
now.
coming
I'd like
along
to-
here, and you've been very cooperative.
Thank you.
It's a 180 from what last time I was with the De Lorenzo.
Yeah.
It's a new generation.
I'd like to just open it up to the audience. If there are any comments, we're in the middle of a public hearing here. If you have any comments you'd like to make with respect to this application.
I just went down today to see.
Miss, I'm really sorry, but I have to ask you for your name.
Mary Keene, 12 Elm Street. Keene. And I went down on 114 to see the Honeydew establishment this afternoon.
On Route 114?
And I was struck by the signs. One that was huge up above,
Mhm.
and then the oval one that was on the building. So that was one.
Is that in Middleton?
No, it's on 114 in Danvers.
In Danvers?
So that was one of the questions I was going to raise was.
It
I
was
know
I'm
I'm
glad
like-
you don't live in Danvers.
It's only a 55-foot sign.
How big is that sign?
There's a 55-foot sign in the back.
Gosh, 55 feet?
There's only two that are grandfathered in, that and Toyota.
Oh, my.
It used to be a Shell station.
Wow.
Well, that's interesting that it was grandfathered, because signs are not grandfathered. And how Mr. Di Lorenzo got away with this was a wink and an eye, because you don't grandfather signs.
He said it was like the Sitco sign.
Yeah.
Historic. It's a historic sign? Well, all I can say is, I very much doubt you'll see a 55-foot sign in front of, for
What do we have
for
down
this.
in front of the town hall? That's a nice looking sign.
That's a crooked sign. Somebody just,
What size is that one?
somebody didn't know how
The
to
new one?
Yeah.
stretch it out there.
I do have one
big
question about signage.
Yes, sir.
I noticed in some of the establishments, there's some box signs inside the windows. Now, is that something that is allowed, or because?
I'm not exactly certain what you're referring to.
I seen one that said open, I don't know if it was a nail salon, it said nails, but it was inside behind the glass. Like a
One down,
box.
down, it says nails.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a box sign inside.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's neon or something, but it's behind the window.
It can't be neon. It's not.
Yeah.
Those aren't allowed.
Because what Honeydew does have, it's a box sign, it's probably maybe a third size of this table, and it's just the logo, it's a box light, and it's a logo, and it's just lit up, it's not neon or anything, it's a faced box. I didn't know, and it's suspended in the window for some storefront stores, so I didn't know if that would be something allowed, or.
Something you'd have to ask
It
the
might
the
be
building.
allowed.
Yeah, you,
Doesn't sound
I,
like it should be a
But
problem.
it's the total signage of that, the other things
Yeah,
you're gonna be
that's
doing.
why I don't know what the.
that's
total
why I
sign-
say, that's a zoning enforcement, the building inspector.
Yeah.
You
'cause I
wanna,
wanna go over
he'll
it.
break out his tape and all that stuff. Do some calculation. Sorry, I can't help you with that.
Oh, I just thought of something. I almost forgot it. I did get an inquiry about lighting. At night, you have big beams in the corners of your buildings.
Yep. Well, we did that. We were robbed about a little over 2 years ago.
The liquor store?
Yes.
Yeah, first time ever.
And one of the things that, to deter it was to put in more lights. Now, since then, we've put in those nice lights that light up the whole walkway. They're underneath. They're underneath the awning part. The lights that come on at dusk. They're not on a light sensitive thing. So, but because the parking lot was very dark.
Yeah.
So we
That
just
would-
tried to make it safer by putting more lights in, much like parking lot,
Yeah.
Crosby's Market has.
And
So are you
actually,
saying that what's happening is there's like light trespass going somewhere?
Yeah,
or?
it was like really lit up, according to this person, was Cause I don't recall seeing it, but
No, 'cause-
that might be something you run by the building inspector though, to
But-
see if it meets.
But yeah, I mean,
our
all
bylaw.
parking lots are lit for safety reasons. You
I
don't
would
Right,
need
say-
a
it's,
parking
it's
lot.
not a question of how bright the lights are
It's
when they're
where-
facing the
Oh, we can
lot
change the
itself.
angle.
It's,
Yeah.
it's light, it's
That's
called light
probably-
trespass, how much it glares, and usually that's just a matter of
That's
making sure that
adjusting
the
the-
fixture is
yeah.
adjusted.
That's not a
To
problem.
focus.
If there's a problem, and again, I will look at it at night and see
Yeah.
if where it's trespassing,
Yeah.
but there's no houses around us except for the one across the street.
Right.
And the lights don't go anywhere near that
This
side.
is, this person lives across a couple of streets and can see it from his house.
Lives
So,
across a couple of streets?
yeah, I
It's a
think
telescope.
it's on the other side of Elm, the other
You
street.
walk out of this
back-
building, you'll see
Elm-
Crosby's lit up like a Christmas tree, so,
It's on Elm Street?
lighting. I want lighting
On Elm
for,
Street?
for security reasons.
There's a street off of Elm Street. There's a little,
Cottage?
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think that's it. I
Is
think
that
Cottage
it?
Street.
I don't know
No,
what
it's
the
not
street
Cottage
is.
Street.
What is it?
Cottage Street is off of Elm Street, right?
Yeah.
And then it
But
cuts,
do
cuts
you
back.
see that,
No, it's
Mrs.
not
King? Do
Cottage
you see
Street.
a light
Well,
from your house?
There's a kind of a.
Rob
wall.
Hoover lives on that.
Pine trees help to keep that down.
Oh, okay.
Isn't the liquor store on the other side of the building?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
it's
the-
being seen across the whole
Across-
site,
Yeah,
through 5 Elm,
Oh,
across
is there lighting
Elm
in the
Street.
back that we're not thinking of, or is this lighting for the
all
back
your
area?
lighting on the plan?
Is up. Oh, yeah.
Did you write all your lighting on your plan? No?
actually, I was thinking it might be a good idea to ask Steve
Yeah.
when he designs the traffic flow to throw some, illuminate us.
Yeah.
Well,
That could be a
start being
very,
careful.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're really,
Then-
we're really getting.
Is that too much detail?
No,
Well,
I think it's right,
Well-
but you're starting to,
Yeah,
I'm just
really getting
trying to
beyond
be sensitive to the fact that this application's for a leaseholder
Yeah.
Yeah.
and not the property owner. We've invited the property owners here, and if we start asking about putting up parking lot lights and everything else, that's the responsibility of the property owners and shouldn't hold up the site plan application.
Well,
So-
I
No,
think
but
what we
now
need-
that we have it there, we better go through it all, because it's not coming back again, and.
But if you go through it all, you're gonna be
Well, not-
burdening the leaseholder.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Not-
so.
Well, he,
I'm wondering.
hold them
Are you
up.
being burdened? When do you
Be
plan
honest.
on, when do
You
you
don't have to
plan
answer
on
that.
starting business?
Yesterday.
Oh, come on.
Can I ask, is this new lighting that was installed since, how long has this been?
they put one light up to illuminate the liquor store because it was too dark in the parking lot. So we put a light on the pole that was there,
Facing towards
facing towards the liquor
the
store.
building,
Right.
not facing out.
No. All we want to do is so when you come out of the store, you don't feel like you're walking down a dark alley.
Right. I can
That's
see
all. I
your
mean,
point.
the lighting in the parking lot is definitely adequate, and you know, it's not overburdening. It lights up the parking lot the way it should.
And it's directed at the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's
Why
not
would we have it
escaping.
directing anywhere else? I don't want to light up the neighbor's house.
We'll drive by at night and
Well-
double check it maybe.
With
Take a
all due
look at
respect,
it.
before we get to view it at midnight,
Yes.
driving home, maybe we should move this forward. How, is there anything else you can think of, or?
No,
Like-
no, I'm just wondering what date you're gonna go to.
Well, now, this is something that, I hope you guys can answer this. When are we gonna see all those revisions? And I know it's kinda unfair because you're not Steve, and Steve's the one that's drawing them.
I don't see it being a problem. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of major changes on there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot of drawing, but I don't know how busy
Yeah.
Steve is.
Well, we'll make Steve work hard. He's getting good money. I think, I mean, if we can get in, when's the next meeting?
Next meeting's May
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah, May 20th, May 22nd, which is 6 Norino Way.
Yep, but
And
that's a
then-
piece, should be a piece of cake.
That should be 15 minutes.
That should be a piece of cake. We've
And then
resolved
June
all the
12th
issues.
is Park and Rec.
That'll be a
And
nightmare.
then June
What else is
26th
May,
is Lisa.
May 22nd?
May 20th?
220.
What else is May 22nd?
There's just 6
Just
Norino Way on May
there.
22nd.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
So let's go
So
May
we'll go in there
22nd.
if we can.
That's
Okay.
okay with.
I'll
Is
accept
that
the
all
motion to
right?
continue to May 22nd.
So moved.
So moved by Bob Watts, moves to continue to
Continue to
Second.
May 22nd, 2013. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
That's it.
Aye,
Is that the
motion
only-
carries 4-0. Sounds like we'll see you on May 22nd, and thank you very much.
Dana, just keep in mind, we need to get those plans before the day before May 22nd, because we
Okay.
need to be able to review them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It
We'd
sounds like,
like to see them like a week
it sounds like
before,
there's
if
gonna be some
possible.
coordination between Howard and Steve, right?
Yeah.
That would probably be the best thing.
The changes
Right
aren't
away.
that
Yeah.
major a thing that he,
No, the
Hopefully he
changes
can-
that he
hopefully
put
he
on
can
this
get
time,
those
he did
done
it pretty
and-
quick, so.
Nice thing about having Howard coordinate with them is the changes will all be there, you won't miss anything. All right,
Sounds good.
thank you so much.
Thank you very
Continue to May
Okay,
22nd.
thank you.
Appreciate
Okay, thank you.
Next on the agenda,
Donna, did you sign in?
41 Jewish.
It's just your last name, the spelling, I'm sorry. Thank you so much.
Not easy like Di Lorenzo.
Next on the agenda is 41 Jewett Street. We have continuation, it's not a continuation, but we have, we're dealing with the issue of an A&R. Howard, do we have copies?
You've got a Mylar and a paper copy up there
We have a paper copy, and so,
with
Um,
the, reflecting the revisions requested of the board at the last meeting.
so the
Stating the-
only revision, other than the, that was made on the plan, that deviates from the plans that we've all had distributed for weeks, is that it now shows where it showed a public way before, it now shows private way.
Correct.
Okay, and we're calling that Old Jewett Street. That was changed from, what was represented on the plan as public. It's now represented as private. Not the only change you're aware of?
Yep.
Okay. Revision to plan, showing, street as private. Okay. One of the things we have to deal with at this point is adequacy of the way. I believe that's the only thing that we
Sorry?
have. Adequacy of the way. This is an A&R. Several things we have to make sure. Do we believe that the access, that road, that way, that road, is it adequate to serve the lots? And, I
Serve the
know-
lots for the potential development that could occur on the lot. In this case, it would be a single family. And for all the municipality, services, of the emergency response and everything to get to that property.
I'm a little confused now. I thought, I talked to Bob and I thought I talked to you. It's the existing house that needs the A&R. There's no, there's a house there that the daughter is living in. That's there's no new development gonna be
No,
there.
there's no new development occurring.
You just said that, though.
No, there is no.
I said it in terms of when you consider the adequacy of the way.
Yeah,
It's for vehicular access. If it's
Right.
to be a built property, can somebody get to it?
yeah.
Yeah.
But,
In the-
yeah,
But in this case, there isn't gonna be any
yeah,
structure.
yeah.
So,
It's an existing house.
I think about a week or so ago, we were all invited to go down and take a look at the way.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to go?
I did not, no.
Did you get a chance to?
Yeah, I drove down it as far as I could get. I couldn't get over the culvert.
Well, bear in mind that to be adequate in terms of this for access to that new parcel, if you will, does not have to be a throughway. It can be a private, it's a private way.
So it
Doesn't
doesn't
be
have
on
to
the
get
road.
as far as the culvert.
No,
No.
it just needs to be along what he's considering for the frontage of his lot.
I think the state standard.
Coming from the end of Thurlow Street,
Coming from
that
Jewett
end.
Street.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
dead end.
Yeah,
Right.
did you see the house that's there?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's right in front of there, that frontage. I think right from Thurlow Street, you look straight, you see the house, and then the property is right here, the frontage. And then on this side is that little piece
so,
that came after the fact.
so a fire truck can get in and turn around okay and stuff.
That's
There's
what
no
I
issues
thought we
there.
had
Did you
left
have-
it at.
I went and did a site visit, yesterday with the fire chief.
Oh, great.
to confirm that, because I
He's
thought it
okay.
might come up. Yeah, he said, after visual review of the area of Old Jewett Street, I do not see any potential issues or problems with this roadway. The bed appears firm enough for modern fire apparatus as well. The width will adequately support any of our vehicles in the fleet. I greatly appreciate your including the fire department in these type of matters.
It just can't, a fire truck can't get over the culvert, but
Right.
No, they just can't go.
So it would be just like any court or lane that we created,
Yeah.
they'd have to back out if
Right.
it didn't have the bulb.
And he even noted the fact that it's in the middle between two fire hydrants. So it can easily be reached by a fire hydrant as well. So it's not
Great.
It's not
No.
3 or 4 miles.
is that Old
good.
Jewett Street section there, is that where the actual water main for Jewett Street runs?
Yes.
So they never moved the water main, they left it there.
Yeah.
So the water department,
Didn't
That's
we
a
get
cluster.
note
assuming,
that they're
assuming
gonna
that this
move it?
happens,
So-
the water department,
No,
What
Glenn.
was that note?
Glenn sent an email saying it is the town has underground water in that alignment, and it predates obviously the 55 county road alignment, and he thinks it dates from about 42, 43. So it's a while back. It goes through there and then
It goes
turns-
underneath the highway, right, still? Doesn't that?
Yeah, it goes to the old
Jew.
Jewett Street and then back on to Jewett Street. And goes
Yeah,
over the
right,
highway.
yeah, it's still, who knows how old that water main is?
I wonder if they still
And what if it
use
ever failed under 95?
That's probably
would
the
be
when they
fun.
went to Byfield, when we were supplying Byfield with the water.
Okay, so, is there, if there are no questions, if everyone's comfortable that the way is adequate, then it sure sounds to me like I'm ready to hear a motion
I make a motion that we approve,
to endorse
endorse
the plan. And do we have references for the plan for the record?
41 Jewett Street.
441 Jewett.
ANR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
approval not required, plan of land in Georgetown.
Go slow for Wendy now. Plan of land in Georgetown.
Yeah.
And we have a creation and a rev date of
5/1/13.
5/1/13 is our rev date, right? Great. That's the motion I'm hearing from Tilly, right?
I'll second that.
Okay. And seconded by Tim. All in favor of endorsing the A&R plan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Hooray, we got something done.
The motion carries unanimously. Grab your pens,
Fish.
and while we, that Mylar's ready to sign, so just make your way up there and put your John Hancock's on there, and we'll be moving this forward. Is there any concern of a planning board member or a member of the hordes in the audience? Okay, that being done, 41 Jewett Street's done, vouchers are done. As Howard stated earlier, the correspondences are not of great consequence. Howard, I'm seeing 2 bullets here on the planning office, MVPC and DHCD zoning and permitting tools for priority development area. Wanna fill this
Right,
out?
Georgetown got that priority development area designation a year or two ago.
Yeah.
When we adopted our 40Ds.
Right.
Industrial
What we did.
area,
And
yeah.
so, and I went to a meeting last week over at New England Community College over in Haverhill, just to get an update about how the current state government is really trying to market again all these priority development areas because of the perceived upswing that's gonna occur in the development market. And so they wanted to refresh people with the development tools, the marketing tools, and everything else. So it was a good 2.5 hours.
Are we supposed to sign both of these, or just
You
mine?
sign both of them if
Oh,
you could.
both of them?
Yeah,
With the fat pen?
either one that you're comfortable with. And for street acceptance, I did, I did a site walk with Dave Varga and Peter Durkee, about a week and a half ago, to look over the 2 roads and see how
The
they're.
2 roads that were accepted by the town,
This
voted
past
to be
month.
accepted by the town at the town meeting.
Right. and waited to do that till all the winter weather was cleared, and waited for all the street sweeping that occurs around Georgetown, so we could better see the condition of curb and asphalt.
Absolutely.
And they all look like they're in pretty decent shape. There's just a few things that, potholes here and there that might need to be filled. Some sealing on some of the cracks might occur, but Dave Varga is gonna write up a report. He took pictures and give it back to us to see how we can proceed. We have 120 days now, the clock's ticking to get everything done, and so I've engaged town council to start doing his title search.
Right.
And Dave Varga has also received the copies of the as-bills that we have. Now, there was an as-built, I think this is correct, there was an as-built and a street acceptance plan done for Abbey Road.
Makes sense.
There was an as-built but not a street acceptance plan done for Cedar Lane, because it was held up due to
By
the litigation.
Yep.
There is no tripartite bond or M account 53G for Abbey Road. That's all been returned. There is some tripartite and escrow account left for Cedar Lane.
You're kidding me.
So,
Kidding me.
completion,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
so,
Go ahead.
after the title search is occurred, there is gonna be a little bit of a process I need to do to look at what that tripartite agreement is and states. Because if there was any deficiencies in the subdivision that, road that was never completed, we might be able to use that money to complete. If there was,
And could we potentially use that for the as-built? If
No.
as-built were required in the subdivision approval?
no, but we could use some of the M account money to create the as-built or the street acceptance plan.
M account for that too? Wow.
There,
Okay.
there was, as I remember,
Good to find out.
yeah.
Cool. Okay, I didn't.
I remember Al telling me about it, cause they were kinda ticked about that court case.
Oh, yeah.
And you were probably there. And Moultrie was on the board and he was the roads. So he wanted to hold money back to repair Andover Street because that constantly flooded. Because somehow the piping and drainage was connected. And
Well, that
that's
was all part
why,
of that easement that was requested to
yeah,
have
that
there.
was
And that's what held up the whole
off-site
thing for the,
improvement money.
that land never came to the town, but the developer was supposed to turn that land over. And that was the whole part of the court case,
Yeah,
was to compel the developer to turn over the land for the easement. Yeah.
that's why there's still money there.
Okay, great. I'm glad to hear it. I thought that it was all used up.
That's how.
Letters were sent out
Glad
to
to hear
all
it.
the people that lived on the street, and I only got one call back wanting to know about it, so they've been informed.
And the fee, the road, the actual fee of the roadway was reserved?
I believe so on both, so
Great.
it's just making
Sounds
sure
like a piece of
that,
cake.
that was the start of making sure it was held separate and fee.
Sure.
But what happened later on, if he did it every time one of the properties was built and developed and sold, to make sure that that was reserved and that was kept, so. That'll all be part of the title search.
Great.
Does
Keep us,
Peter know
keep
that
us up
that
on it.
money was held for the Andover Street as-built?
For Cedar.
Off-site improvement? Yeah, for Cedar. Does he know
Right.
that?
Yeah, he knows it, but again, the agreement of why that money was held will allow us or not allow us to do certain improvements. So, we just can't take that and use it for something not relevant to what it was established for.
Right.
So at the next meeting, we'll have to consider, I actually would like to see if we could get to, if we're gonna do street acceptances, to try to set them up for the fall, so that way it can be a clear
Interestingly
process
enough,
through
I
the
mean,
summer.
how many, I seem to remember a couple of years ago making a map up with Nick, our old planner,
Yeah.
Nick Cracknell, and I sent it to him. And, the list that we generated was because once I made a map up, it was easy to see, where the longest streets were.
Right.
Because the longest street gets us naturally the most linear footage, which maximizes the amount of money of the chapter 90 money. At this point, I forget what the list actually looks like or how many are actually left. Because
I've just been quickly looking at
there's
this
a point where
official town
you
map.
sort of look at diminishing returns,
Right.
and we may
How
want
much money you get in chapter 90 versus how much money you get into.
how much it costs the
See.
town to legally accept them. And I mean,
Exactly.
this isn't us. These are streets that should have been accepted decades ago.
Right.
So, I mean, what we have to focus on is making sure that when we approve a subdivision, courts, lanes, things like that, well, not courts and lanes, because they'd be private, but when we do a subdivision, that we follow up and we make sure that the roadway is accepted. But I think we've done a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, last couple of years you've
Yeah.
done a lot. So longer streets.
Let's take a look. Maybe we'll find out that there are not too many more that need to be accepted.
I don't think there are.
Yeah. Great.
That could be accepted.
That could be.
Interesting point. Well put. Well put, sir. Bob, anything else?
I'm good.
Tim? Good? Anything you have to offer for, before we say goodnight to these?
No.
Tilly?
Good meeting.
Wendy?
Yeah, it was a good meeting.
I love it.
Somebody
Before
make
9
it
o'clock?
was such a good meeting that
Motion
someone
to
should make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Before we break it, I second.
Motion by Tim to adjourn, seconded by Bob. All in favor.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0, and meeting is adjourned at, what is that, 8:49.
That's almost a record.
Wow, I think that is a record. Good night, everyone. See you in 2 weeks.